Hey, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. And joining me now, our guest in the studio. I never know on a teleprompter if I'm left or right. So I'm going to say to my far left is Blue Ridge, the mayor of Blue Ridge, Donna Whitener, and right here next to me is Council Member Rhonda Thomas. Ladies, thank you for coming in this morning. First, I don't know if you've heard it around town, so I apologize for maybe the reference I made about you, or you know, I said something I probably regret now. I don't know. Have you heard about that?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay. So now that have you accepted my apology?
I accept.
Okay. Now we'll move on. All right. Anyhow,
Donna does though.
I missed it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Good. Let's just keep it that way. Anyhow, okay, you have received, and let's talk about this. So what I want to do this morning is I want the citizens out there and I want the folks that watch at home to kind of understand what this is and what happened. And Russell Stuckey is the attorney, and I always struggle with this. It's Latin, I guess. And you receive an ante litem notice, which is to me, kind of saying, you know, this is our intent to possibly sue. And what people need to understand is that is suing the city of Blue Ridge, and both of you have been named in this as the mayor and as councilwoman. This has come from the Blue Ridge City Police Chief Johnny Searcy, Corporal Michael Green, and the Blue Ridge City Police. So you guys just take off whoever wants to be first, or whoever wants to add on. What is this about? Let's talk generally. What is this about? What do you want to explain to people out there that's going on here?
You want me to start?
You start.
Basically, the claim is because we have had a city resident that had several issues. It actually came on the show, came to me several times over the past couple of months with some claims about our chief and a Councilwoman Art, and for the last couple of months, he felt like he had been harassed. He had called me numerous times with various issues. And so when he called and said that he was being arrested, I went to the police station just to see what was going on. I tried to talk to Michael Green on the phone. Anyway, so I went in to see what was happening. And
well, I'll use the name. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, when you get something like this, immediately you've got to start, I guess, figuring out what you can and can't say due to putting the city at jeopardy, not just yourselves, the city at jeopardy, because this could possibly happen. And I think, am I correct that citizens need to be aware that this is actually a lawsuit to the city, really suing the citizens in a way? Am I correct on that? Mm-hmm. So let's say this. So I'm going to use the names, and if you can, I understand. Patrick Crane, which has been on this show, he called that they were going to arrest him. He has been concerned because I interviewed him. Anybody that doesn't know the background, you can catch that on FetchYourNews.com. We have that. But he has for several months, because he came. He allegedly has made some claims about some things or he's made some claims about some things allegedly that's taken place, and he feels threatened. And he has confided in you that he felt threatened. Am I correct on that?
Yes, he has. Numerous times.
Numerous times.
Mm-hmm. He says he's not only he feels threatened for his family, for himself, for his freedom, for his health.
What does he feel? Who does he feel threatened from? And I mean, just be candid. I mean, I'm going to ask some questions you can't answer. I understand, but when Patrick's calling you and talking to, who does he feel threatened from, particularly?
I think that probably the people that he has publicly accused of wrongdoing.
Okay.
Which I'm not going to.
There's a group, right? Okay, I have. You don't have to. I have. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now that being said, so he calls that night. He says they're going to arrest me. We won't go into the details. I mean, it's not a laughing matter, but this all boils down to him and a neighbor, Steve Setzer at the Swan Drive-In, supposedly exchanging gestures, finger gestures. Okay. And this resulted in a warrant and Patrick's arrest and actually a bond, which I have here on my desk. This is have you had an opportunity to look at the warrant and the complaint? Because I have that here that night. So he calls you and he's concerned they're going to arrest him, and he just doesn't know for his safety what's going to happen. So you called first, Corporal Green?
I called first.
You made a call.
Mm-hmm. And then I went to the police station and...
Did you get Corporal Green on the phone?
I did.
What happened in that conversation, you might say?
Probably can't comment about that at this point.
Okay, so the conversation on the phone obviously led you to believe you needed to go down there. I say needed, these are my words, but you wanted to go see for yourself or whatever. Yes. Explain that. Well, is that what you did?
Yes. Well, I'm the mayor of the city, and I am the CEO, so I have administrative powers. And, you know, when I get a complaint, whether it's a water issue or a sewer issue or barking dogs or cats or police complaints, I investigate those or check into those things, and that's basically all I did.
So where
go ask questions. I didn't take any information with me as far as the evidence and things like that. Didn't touch the evidence.
Yeah, we take an oath to our citizens, and you know, we have departments who work under us: street, water, sewer, park, police, and office administration. So we're really responsible, and especially the mayor as having administrative power, to you know, make sure things are moving smoothly. And you want to always protect the city, but yet you also want to protect your residents. That's what we take an oath. We take an oath to protect our city. They are guaranteed safety, and
that's who we work for.
That's who we work for.
We work for our citizens.
All right, well, let me ask you, Ms. Thomas, why did you go?
I was actually asleep. We'd been at a fundraiser that night for hospice, and had gone home, and Mayor Whitener called me concerned. Really, I guess after she had spoken with Corporal Green, she just felt like that the behavior was not, that she needed someone to go with her. And
after the phone call,
the initial phone call.
I want to make sure I'm clear on it, because I don't want to change the story in any way, so I want to be clear. Mayor Whitener made a phone call to Corporal Green. She can't comment, but it didn't go very well, my words. After that phone call, she felt she needed somebody to go with her.
Yes.
Is that am I correct?
I'm 1 block from the police station, so she came by, we went over there, and that's really all I can say on that right now. But yes, I went with her.
Did it get hostile over there? Because I'm reading this, and did it get hostile? I'm not going to quote things today. I've done that on other segments, but supposedly the accusations made that you've threatened Chief Searcy with his job and that you're tired of his. I'm going to ask, did that happen? Did you threaten him for his job?
Chief Searcy and I never discussed his job, period.
No.
There was never a conversation between me and the chief about his job. I did ask for Chief Searcy to come in just so I could get some questions answered, but I mean, there was a fairly cordial conversation
between
me and Chief
Searcy. He's not there.
No, he wasn't there, and he's the police chief.
Did you call and ask him to come in?
I didn't call. I asked one of the officers to call him.
So you asked one of the officers?
And they did. They called him.
Why did you do that?
Just because I felt like I needed some answers. And he came in. We had some discussion. I never got a clear answer, but he did come in. He did do as I had asked for him to come in and, tell me why we could or couldn't do certain things, but didn't really get the answer why I couldn't or why I could. So he did come in, but Chief Searcy and I never discussed his job.
No,
we've never discussed his job as far as.
So the 7 years of your administration, you served as the mayor.
7 years and 9 months.
You've never discussed his job with him?
Not in a threatening manner. We discussed, if I asked him to go investigate pay increases. Called him a few months ago and said, Johnny, you've not spent the money in your budget for a car. Can you get me an estimate on your car and any equipment you need for it? So pretty much that's the conversations Chief Searcy and I have. Had a little safety issue I was concerned about a couple of months ago. The school, Blue Ridge School, getting traffic in and out, safely. So rode with him up to the school to check that out to see if there was anything we could do. So those are the kind of conversations I have with Chief Searcy. I've never had a heated conversation with him, ever.
That night in question, did you have an altercation with Corporal Green? I mean, he said that you called him a name. Did you have...
And I'm sure Lisa Crane was in the room when he was in there.
And who is Lisa Crane?
Patrick's wife. She was there.
Why did she come down?
She was concerned for her husband.
Okay, so...
And she had actually requested a meeting that following Monday, and with the mayor and Chief Searcy, but she felt like she needed to come down there that night. And she was in the room the entire time that Michael Green was in there.
Yeah, I'm trying to paint this. So Michael Green's in there, Corporal Green. So you go down, you pick her up. You've had a phone conversation with Corporal Green. Didn't go, don't have details, but didn't go the way you felt. You had concerns, am I right? So you
yes,
said, I think I need to go down there. Okay. Mm-hmm. As the mayor, as somebody looking out for another citizen, Patrick Crane, I mean, did you go down there as the capacity as Mayor Donna Whitener, that you had a complaint from a citizen and they felt they were in fear? I mean, is these all the things going on? You better go check for your city, your citizens. I mean, tell me.
Well, I went because I had the complaint, and I knew that I had the meeting on Monday with Chief Searcy and Lisa Crane and Patrick Crane. And so it just escalated. It just ended up moving up. So I felt like that was a really good time to go ahead and let's just address the issue, see what's going on, see what Lisa's concerns were. I did ask that Patrick not come that night, the night that they were going to arrest him, because Patrick's pretty upset with Johnny and council person.
But that was you asked. But that was their actual decision, right? That if they said, hey, Patrick has to come, you really wouldn't have been able to do anything about that.
Oh, no.
Right.
No, they had asked Patrick to turn himself in the next day.
Because they didn't know he turned himself in.
Yes.
Yes, right, and Patrick had said he wanted to turn himself in to Dane Kirby and not the city police chief. So I just said, we needed to have a conversation in a meeting, and I really felt like since Patrick was upset and he had made the complaint, that it probably wasn't going to be a good situation for him to come in that night. So he was going in the next day, and Michael Green had agreed for him to do that with Dane Kirby and I guess the magistrate judge.
Yes. So okay. So Patrick Crane was concerned and didn't want to be arrested and taken in by the city police. Mm-hmm. He wanted it to go through the sheriff's office, and that's what happened.
Correct.
So you go down and you say Lisa Crane is there. Mm-hmm. And was she present the entire time you were with Corporal Green?
Yes.
So she would be able to say that didn't happen?
Correct.
Okay, and you didn't call Corporal Green, you didn't, nothing. And I'm sorry to use the word hostile, but if you read the complaint, I mean,
yes,
what it sounds like, and I don't want to paint a picture. Let me go another direction on this. He claims Mayor Whitener and Council Member Thomas have continually and intentionally interfered with operations of the Blue Ridge City Police Department over the past 7 years. Basically, since you got there, and the first time that the citizens said they wanted you to serve in your capacity and yours, that you've just been after him from day one.
Well, I've probably only been in the police department itself maybe a dozen times. Maybe. And
yourself, because he named you. What?
I mean, I don't even know if I've been there a dozen times.
I could not tell you what he's talking about. And I'm sure if you look over public records, the only thing you will see is that we have increased his police fleet of cars, given them raises, bought numerous items for the police department, and I don't think that is hindering in any way. I've probably been in the police station maybe 3-4 times in 8 years. I've talked to Johnny Searcy personally maybe 2 times, but I've never discussed anything with this department. He is on a safety committee with me, which I asked him to do, and he was happy to do it. And those are meetings that are held between the police chief, fire, EMS director, and we just look at safety concerns. So of course I've been in contact with him during those times, but other than that, no.
Okay, so I know Russell Stuckey, his attorney, may not like the way I phrased this. So number one here, you've not been out to get him from day one, because that's...
No.
Okay. Now, Mayor Whitener, Councilmember Thomas have interfered without legal justification or authority. It did so for political and personal motives. And this comes from Johnny Searcy. This is his complaint. Political and personal motives. Where do you think he's coming from on that? I mean, why political motives?
How politically could that benefit you?
I don't think this has benefited us.
I mean, we've been lied about. We've heard all kinds of rumors and different things that we were getting rid of the police department. That is a lie, bold-faced lie. We need a police department.
So wait, let me say for you, if somebody out there says, Mayor Whitener's going around saying, I'm going to get rid of the police department, you look at the camera and say, it's what?
A bold-faced lie.
Okay.
They need to come in and ask us. We need a police department. We're a small city with a huge influx of tourism on the weekends. We have city residents that, ask for more patrolling in their areas. We don't see a police officer very often. We feel like things would be safer in our area if we had drive-bys more often. We have drug issues in town. We have family violence issues. It's really nice that we have a police department in that 1 mile by 2 miles, because they can get to them pretty quickly. I think I heard that we were going to turn it over to the county. Well, the county doesn't have the manpower to do what we need in the city of Blue Ridge. I think they've got 4 officers on duty maybe at one time. They have a huge county to cover. So I actually had an incident myself this week that I had to call the police department in for. I heard some noise at the back of my furniture store about midnight and thought somebody was breaking in on me, basically. It took them 10 or 12 minutes to get there from the city police, so they might have been tied up on something else. So what if I'd have waited on a county officer? And I was a little nervous. So I want people to have the protection of a police department that's in their city. Mm-hmm. Never have asked for that to be taken away. That's never come up in a meeting, never come up in a workshop. But I want good police officers. I want police officers that our residents feel they can trust and are there for their good, for the good of the people.
Politically or personally, that he makes this accusation. Ms. Thomas, what about you? How do you see? He says you've used this for 7 years. You've used your seat on the council for political reasons. This is about political reasons and personal reasons.
I would say he would have to prove that, and that's going to be very hard when there's nothing he can say that I've not done to support the police department. So
as a council member, you feel strong that any motion that's come before the council that had positive impact in the police department, you have voted yes or supported? Or
I've supported. The only thing I didn't support was last year when we bought the scanners. I felt like that was expensive and probably a waste of money. But yeah, I'm responsible for getting. With the safety committee, we've gotten the new flashing speed signs that let people know they're speeding,
right.
Things like that.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, because no, I say thank you to you, the council, because obviously I'm going through town and it says you're going this fast. Ooh, okay. Yes. I don't mind those, because I think people, not to get sidetracked, and usually I can do that, but I don't think people intend to come through the city too fast. Sometimes you just don't realize how right. So I think those are great. So those.
Yeah. And I think that helps our police officers, because it's putting some awareness out there for the folks that are speeding and they're going, okay, I need to slow down, So I think it really makes a difference in what they have to do.
And honestly, together, I think even with his suggestions, my safety committee, we've done a lot in the city to help improve areas that were concerns. And so, no, I don't know where any of this is coming from. So.
Okay. So right now, this is an intent to sue, possibly sue. I mean, Do you think they're going to go through with this? I mean, what do you know? You just got this. You've got this notice, and you have no idea.
I have no idea.
No idea which direction they're going. I want to ask a different question, Mayor, and this is totally a different subject than you came in for today. But you are the mayor. You sit here as the mayor of Blue Ridge, and I have to ask this. Just yesterday, it's come to my attention that the supervisor of elections is on sick leave. Am I correct? Is Barbie Gerald taking a sick leave? Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is it my understanding that a notice was sent out for no council members, nobody to contact her, that she needs whatever rest for whatever illness? Am I right or wrong?
That's correct.
What do you do in an election season as the mayor? What does your charter say you do? Is you got a time when she's returning to work, or do you know? And I understand.
That's a loaded question. I don't know all the answers to it because
I didn't mean to do that, but it just came up yesterday.
Nice if you gave me a heads up for that one.
Well, the reason I say that is because it just caught me off guard yesterday that she had taken a sick leave, which I can understand if she's sick, and obviously I don't go into people. That's their personal business. They're able to do that. But what if she's not able to return?
What's the backup plan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking.
Let me say, I was not in support of the election being held in City Hall.
Neither was I. No.
That should be in a neutral place, and that should fall with the county, just because the county has a lot of expertise. In the time that Barbie and Becky Harkins were at, Barbie Gerald and Becky Harkins, they were doing their training, one of the things they did learn is that it's a little tough to run your first election and be superintendent unless you've done 3 or 4 elections. So that concerned me in the beginning, and then knowing that we may have some interesting issues that she may have to deal with, I was really worried for Barbie and Becky.
Well, they have jobs in
the
office,
jobs
right?
In
the office.
And so the election takes up a lot of time, and that's not what they do every day. Barbie actually works with the police department. She's their clerk. So they write quite a few tickets in town, so if Johnny or any of the other gentlemen need some kind of help, she works with them and helps them. She also is the office manager, so she's over all the girls in the office. So now she's taken on another role as superintendent of elections. And as you know, Fannin County has quite a reputation in the elections. Fannin County and the city of Blue Ridge, I don't mean it just for the county, there's always been issues that are unique to the rest of the state. I think I've heard that.
Well, actually, the last election, the county ended up having to come in and take over the election.
Yes, because it was done incorrectly, and there were several issues there. But so I had some concerns. So I really wanted that to be subbed out or contracted out to the county, or an independent. It didn't really matter to me who, because I just didn't feel
take it out of City Hall.
Take it out.
Take it out. Make it neutral. Let somebody else handle it, and then that way everybody's hands are clean, and that's my words.
Yeah, well, in the last election,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree. Even I know when early voting starts, this is my second term, it's always been that we have going into the office, third term. Even going into the office or going to City Hall, if you have business that you need to take care of, it's hard to do that during the election hours, and that's
it's just not fair.
4:30, and it's really not fair to any of us to try to do our jobs and for the city employees, because
puts them in a position. That's just my opinion. It puts the employees in a position. Yeah. I call it the no win-win, and I'm not going to answer these in my words, but my only reason that I said that, and I don't want you to go into this, and I don't think you should go into it, is there's some pending decisions, and we'll leave it at that for people that are following the election. And we don't want to talk about your campaigns today, but there are some pending decisions that need to be made. It came to my attention yesterday that she is out on sick leave, and we hope she's well. I think she's a very nice lady. I was there the other day, and during one of the hearings that was taking place. So I was just wondering, is there a plan B if she can't be back by Monday or Tuesday? What is plan B if she cannot continue as the election supervisor in any way whatsoever? Because election supervisor has to be certified, has to have training, a minimum of at least 2 days, because what I heard the other day is she had 2 days of training to be the supervisor. Do you have to have a meeting? And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's just all these things. You know me by now, right?
Yeah.
So I just got to thinking, do you have to have a special call meeting, say our supervisor? I don't know. And I may be going out that distance. I'm just wondering what the game plan is.
I have not, as you know, we've been suggested not to discuss anything.
No, I understand.
So I've not even discussed this with Barbie, but one of the other ladies has told me that they're going to reevaluate things Monday, and it's possible it could be a longer period of time. So I think if we end up having to make, we may have to have an emergency council meeting next week.
We really don't have
if
a plan B.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you have an emergency meeting and you say, well, Barbie, and again, we want to make sure, I'm going to look in the camera and let you know that Barbie Gerald, this is nothing negative in any way. This is a very nice lady, okay?
She's done her job.
Very nice lady, but if we're looking at the actual city side of, if for some reason she can't get back, and if for some reason you have a special call meeting, and you say we have to have a new election supervisor, and they have to go to training, they can't just be named supervisor.
They have to go to training, and they have to be comfortable doing the job.
And early voting starts, and so on and so forth. So can you have
and ballots have to be printed next week.
Ballots have to be printed, and that's supposed to call. My understanding is a supervisor is supposed to at least be in place for the ballots to be printed. I don't know this, but I'm thinking the supervisor is supposed to sign off on the ballots that go to be printed. That's my thought. Supervisor is supposed to sign off, and
it can affect everything with our election.
So we'll move. I didn't mean to, but it just
we don't have answers.
I can understand that and I can appreciate that, but just I wanted to bring that up. Before we close today, let me ask you one more thing on this. Patrick Crane interviewed with me right here in this room in our studio. I had a 2-hour meeting with him probably about 6 weeks ago in Blue Ridge. We sit down, Patrick and I sit down about close to 2 hours. I came back to the studio, I reported that meeting, but then he came in and sat down, and he said right here where you're sitting today that he feels his civil rights have been violated, and he's in fear. He says he's in fear, and this is just 2 days ago on this show. He's in fear for his family. He feels his civil rights have been violated, and he feels if something happens at his house, he doesn't have police protection. He can't call them. Now, I'm not saying the police wouldn't respond. That's not what you're hearing me say. That's how he feels. Possibly that night when you go down there, do you have any kind of role of looking to see if there's going to be something that may cause a lawsuit against the citizens? I mean, like, because that night you go down there and say, well, I'm hearing all this. Is this going to get us in some kind of lawsuit? I mean, did any of that cross your mind that night?
Yeah, well, I was afraid it would be. No comment.
Okay.
Let me just not comment.
You better not comment on that.
I don't normally go when I have police complaints unless I think they're serious. And that's only happened.
Well, I guess since you've said that, in 7 years in office, not 7 years, 9 months, how many times have you gone down, how many times have you received a phone call and have gone down to the police station to inquire about something that you remember?
Twice, I think.
In 7 years?
I think so.
How about yourself?
This was my first time.
First time? Mm-hmm. So recap, Lisa Crane was there, okay, and you're saying she's a witness to the fact that you did not say what is said in here about Corporal Green, is that correct?
Yes.
And you did not discuss Johnny's job that night?
No, no.
Or in the 7 years?
In the 7 years with Johnny?
No. You're right.
I've never brought Johnny in for any kind. I mean, we've had discussions on things that I didn't agree with, and probably he didn't agree with some things that I felt that they needed to do. But we've never had a heated discussion. We've never had. I mean, he's shared with me that he's heard rumors of different things, but I've said, you know, you need to call those people out on their rumors. Gossip's a terrible thing, you know. So call them out, put them in front of me. You know, let's get to the bottom of it. But never have I
if anything of that nature,
him up or anything.
If anything of that nature, you're saying is rumor out there, and if it was something that he felt serious, come sit down and talk to you. Is that
he should have?
Okay.
Because if I have something that I think is serious enough, I go talk to him. He gets a phone call from me, or we discuss it as he comes through City Hall. But there's never been anything real serious that I'm aware of.
Okay, we're going to close up here, but I want to give you last word. If there's anything today that you want our audience to know about this situation, this pending possible lawsuit, folks, you got to remember, this is actually a lawsuit against the citizens. It does name the mayor and Councilwoman Thomas here, but this is really a lawsuit to the citizens, the taxpayers. Do you have any final words that you'd like to make sure before we leave today?
No.
That's it? No?
I'm good.
Okay, I didn't expect that. No? Okay.
Me either.
No, I think we've said enough.
Said enough? We want to thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. And our goal here is just to, hey, I wanted to hear from you. And I want you to know where this is concerned, we do invite Chief Searcy and Corporal Green to come and sit in these same chairs. If they would like to explain this night to us and you, the folks out there, they are welcome to come and have a very nice, quiet conversation in here about this possible. And what this is, it's an antecedent notice. I can't do that Latin. On behalf of the Blue Ridge City Police, Johnny Searcy, Corporal Michael Green, and the Blue Ridge City Police Department, and this is to the city of Blue Ridge. Ladies, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we know you got a long day because there's a forum tonight, so I think we all have a long day.
Yeah, I would like to say that. Please try to come to the forum tonight, and I know you're covering it.
Yes.
So if you can't come, watch it on FYN.
Yes, we're definitely going to do that.
Are you going to do it live?
Yes. So, yes,
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, we're going to do that tonight. We're going to bring that 6 to 9, and those are the council member candidates and the candidates for mayor. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching Good Morning from the Office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We're going to take a break, but you don't want to leave because we're not going to leave this subject. They're going to leave, but we're not. And there's an investigation going on in Blue Ridge, or did take place, that we're going to really highlight when we get back. I'm your host. Take us a break, Richie.